everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Yakima Roof Rack system with the Yakima Timberline towers and the Aero crossbars here on our 2021 Chevrolet Equinox. So some reasons you might want a roof rack system is if you want to use accessories. So you can get bike racks, you can get a roof box, you can get a roof basket, you can even get a kayak carrier up onto your Chevrolet Equinox. But first, what you need is a roof rack system. You could also get a hitch receiver and use hitch accessories, but sometimes, or what often happens, is you don't have a hitch or you've already used your hitch. That's another reason you might be interested in a roof rack system like this one. So depending on your trim level or what your Equinox already has, you may have raised rails or you may not have raised rails. What that would be called would be a naked roof. So what we have here are the Timberline towers designed for your raised rails. I kind of like that feature because it's a lot easier to mount and dismount your crossbars, but the downside, something that you'll have to remember or keep in mind, is that you are limited for your crossbar spread if you do have raised rails like these. So we have the Yakima Jetstream crossbars right here, and these come in either black or silver. You can pick and choose according to really what color your vehicle is or what aesthetic you're interested in. Now these are the Aero style crossbars from Yakima. So previously, the traditional crossbar styles are round or square, and those have a lot of wind noise and wind drag. That's where these Jetstream crossbars come in. They're the Aero style crossbar, meaning they're a bit more aerodynamic, meaning that there will be less wind noise and less wind drag when you're driving down the highway or you're on the road. The crossbars themselves are made of aluminum, which means that they're nice and lightweight and easy to carry, but they also have a pretty decent weight capacity of 165 pounds. Now, when you are talking about weight capacities though, especially for roof rack systems, you will have to make sure that you know your own vehicle's roof rack weight capacity and make sure that you follow whichever is lower of the two. So whichever is lower of your crossbars, of your towers, and of your roof. Cool feature with our Jetstream crossbars, especially compared to Yakima core bar crossbars, is if you take this end cap, and you'll have to do that carefully because I have pinched nails here, is that you have a T-track channel. And what that does is if you do have T-track accessories, meaning instead of they clamping around your crossbar, they clamp right into that channel, you can maximize your crossbar length since these are 50-inch long crossbars. And if you are worried about clearance with low profile towers like this allows you to bypass those clearance issues. So I really like that T-track feature, especially since compared to other crossbars which require cutting that kind of weather stripping on the inside, for this you can just push it down and then it mounts on top of that rubber. Now let's talk about the towers. So these are the Yakima Timberline towers designed for raised factory rails. So they just go around your rails. They have this rubber, kind of this strip that goes around it, but it's not just made of rubber, it also has a metal on the inside which prevents cutting through, and then it clamps down with a Yakima tool. Another thing about these towers is that you can lock them if you have the Yakima same core lock core. So with those in place, awesome, especially if you have other Yakima accessories, you can get them all keyed alike. So these are the 50-inch long crossbars, and compared to other brands which kind of limit how long of a crossbar you can mount to your vehicle, Yakima doesn't. So we'll take some measurements for overhang just to see if these crossbars are long enough for you. So measuring right there from the end of the tower to before the end cap, you have an overhang of 2 1/4 inches. Kind of on the short side. If you want a longer overhang, check out the longer crossbars. That's going to be important if you have accessories, especially kayak carriers that require a longer overhang. But for only 2 inches overhang, that's more for people who like the aesthetic low profile look. Now let's talk about roof clearance. So the Timberline towers themselves are kind of low profile crossbars or towers, which means they sit a little bit lower to your vehicle compared to others. So we're going to take some measurements, measuring from the top ridge. Your Equinox has ridges on its roof. So the measurement will be different depending on where you measure. Your distance from the roof to the bottom of the crossbar is going to be about 3 3/8 inches. So that clearance is important depending on what you're carrying. So especially if you're carrying skis and snowboards and your skis are upside down, you want to make sure you have enough clearance for your bindings. Also, if you have accessories that have clamps that go around your crossbar, you'll want to make sure you have enough clearance for those clamps. If that is an issue for you, check out our T-track mounted accessories. That way you don't have to worry about that clearance for those clamps. Now the height this system adds to our roof is measuring from the roof to the top of the crossbar. It's going to be about 4.5 inches of height. Now, as for crossbar spread, that's going to be from center of one crossbar to the center of the other crossbar. I have them almost maxed out according to our factory raised rails. So it looks like the maximum crossbar spread you can get on this vehicle is only 28 inches. That's usually going to be enough for most of your roof rack accessories, but still a measurement to keep in mind. The install process is relatively simple. I already did one crossbar, so we can do the second crossbar together. So this is all the tools that you will need to install this crossbar system. I have my tape measure just to make sure I have everything lined up right where I want it to be. We have our Yakima hex key, and then we also have our tower and this plate. So just get that plate lined up on your tower. Then you're gonna push this strap in so that this sticks out. That will allow you to access the underside of the tower just to slightly tighten that plate onto the tower. Once you have that plate slightly on there, loose enough where it can still slide through, but tight enough where it doesn't fall off, you're then going to slide these towers onto your crossbar. So just get that plate lined up and then try to slide that through. For the next step, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to secure these towers. So this is gonna require you knowing how far apart your raised rails are. I measured mine and mine are 37.5 inches apart. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten it down right there because I already have the measurements. If you don't have the measurements, that's fine too, but you will have to adjust it while it's on the roof already. So let's tighten that down with our included tool. So push that strap in. Get that tool into place right there and tighten the tower to the crossbar. Once you have your tower set up, then your next step is just to grab your crossbar and throw it onto your raised rails. Make sure you have it where the wider side is facing the front of your vehicle, and just be careful as you slide it over your rails. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up right to where we want our crossbar spread. Now your crossbar spread will depend on your accessories, but here on our Equinox, we're kind of limited for the actual maximum length we can get our crossbars apart. But this is right where I want it. It's about 27 inches from each other. We're then going to secure it by pulling this tab up and then over and into that mount. And then we're gonna tighten down that strap by using this tool right over here. Make sure to evenly tighten it down, like do a 75% on the driver's side, 75% on the passenger's side, and just go back and forth till it's fully tightened down. Now this has its own torque feature, which is pretty cool, and it also means that once you have it at the proper tension or torque, it's going to click like a gas cap. Once you have everything tightened down on all 4 towers, your final step is to put the end caps on both the crossbars. So this pops right onto that crossbar. And then you also put the end cap on the tower. And if you have the Yakima locks, which is the same key system locks, this is when you would replace that plastic lock core onto your end cap and then just pop that into place just like that. And that's it for your install. So my personal thoughts about this roof rack system is it's great if you're a big fan of Yakima products. Yakima always makes great roof racks, great bike racks, great accessories. And if you already have Yakima accessories, I recommend also getting a Yakima roof rack. That way you know it's compatible and you can utilize that same key system. This also gives you a little bit more clearance compared to, let's say, the Rhino Rack roof rack, which is a little bit more low profile, and it looks good here on our Equinox. Now, the way our Equinox is designed is you don't really need much of a step to get up onto your roof to install these crossbars. But if you do have other roof rack accessories, you may be interested in the Moki door step, which will give you a little extra height as well as traction when you're up there. But you don't need it since it is more low profile. So all in all, great roof rack, looks great on our vehicle, and that was a really quick look here at our Yakima roof rack system with our Timberline towers and our Jetstream crossbars on our 2021 Chevrolet Equinox.